Making someone look older involves several processes. We'll begin with this girl by going into liquefied mode so that we can coarsen up some of her features. We'll use the forward warp tool, which comes up by default in this liquefy filter, and use that to turn the corners of the mouth down to make her look a bit less cheerful. We can also thin the lips slightly and make the nose a little wider, as if it's grown slightly with age. Now let's use the tool to pull the jawline down so it's sagging a little with age. We can do this on both sides. We can also raise the eyebrows slightly to make her look a little sadder. And thin those cheeks to give her a slightly more emaciated appearance. And we'll say OK to this. Now, let's sort out this hair, which is far too blonde. We'll switch to the brush tool and choose a large, soft-edged brush. We'll also change to colour mode and, painting in either black or white, go over this blonde hair to turn it grey. It helps greatly if you have a graphics tablet to do this. Otherwise, set the brush to a low opacity, so you only put the grey on exactly where you want it. Now let's add some wrinkles to this face. We'll make a new layer, and we'll set the mode of this layer to hard light. Now, choose a small brush and sample a colour out of the dark area on the face. We want a colour that's a very, very dark brown rather than pure black. Again, with a low opacity, paint in some shadows under the eyes to strengthen up those bags. Increase the density of the lines around the mouth here, and paint a little more shadow under the mouth, around the edges of the nose, and around the chin. Now increase the size of the brush slightly and paint in some more shadow into the cheeks to make them look a little hollow. Again, with a small brush, let's go for a very low opacity, around 10 or 20%, and now paint in some wrinkles on the forehead. To make all this a little less grey, let's now sample a lighter colour and paint some of this on top. This will bring a little colour back into the face and reduce the strength of those hard shadows. We can also use the dark colour again to build up some of these lines in the neck, to strengthen those up and give the impression that they've thickened up with age. Again, we can keep on sampling colours from the face as we build up the effect here to make it more convincing. Once again, it's worth using a very low opacity, again around 20% as you do this, so you can build it up slowly in stages, rather than giving too much shadow at any one time. And let's put a little more shadow down in the cheeks and around the forehead area. She still looks a little too healthy. We need to take some of that warm glow out. Let's add an adjustment layer using hue and saturation to reduce the saturation quite a long way. Now we're taking it right down here, probably more than we need. What we'll do now is paint out that effect on the layer mask by using Option Delete or Alt Delete to fill the mask with the foreground colour. When we now switch to white with our brush at full strength, we can paint that grey back in just where we want it. If the overall strength of this grey is still too much, we can reduce the opacity of this adjustment layer until we get the effect we want.